So I thought today I could give you a quick tour of one of the independent game stores here in New York. That's Video Games New York in the East Village. Here's a look at the outside of the store. Now this is a very small store, as most of them are in New York. Now inside we have your various arcade sticks, and they will custom build sticks for you if that's something you're interested in. Opposite that we have different versions of the DS, and then below that we have various DS games. Now this is a very small store, as I said already, and you'll notice when I turn around here just how close the aisles are here. I was also trying to work around people, so it was kind of hard to make this video exactly all that great, but in any case, we got your box Sega Genesis games here, and then you got some Genesis carts below, and also in these sort of buckets in the bottom. And to the left of that you have your Super Nintendo carts, and then above that I believe you have some box Super Nintendo games up toward the top. And again, I'm trying to sort of work around people here. Okay, so we have some NES, Super Nintendo games up the top, and then you have your NES carts below that. And you have various peripherals and whatnot in the bottom in a lot of these buckets. Now going around the corner here, we have some more common Dreamcast games, and up above we have lots of different box systems, and this is throughout the entire store. We have lots of box systems up at the top. Like I said, more common Dreamcast, PS1 games here. Just to the left, you'll see some PS1 imports. And then again at the bottom, we've got your various controllers and whatnot for these systems. And it's a little tight. You'll see me try to shimmy past all of this stuff here. Right here we have the Master System games boxed. Up above that we have various CDI 3DO games. And in this back corner we have a lot of your older systems, like the Atari, ColecoVision, Television, and even Astrocade. And you see a little collection of Jaguar games there. Next we have the Sega CD, Sega Saturn games. Again, these are the more common games here, and some Saturn imports. Now in a case in the middle we have various more sought after Dreamcast and PS1 games here. And then across from those, we have really a huge case full of PS2 games. As far as I know, they have just about every PS2 game you could possibly want at this store. You kind of get a look down the case there. And then next to your Dreamcast games, we've got N64 carts. And below we have some various Famicom, Super Famicom, import N64. We have our boxed N64 games above. And once again, above all of this, we have various boxed systems, games, etc., etc. Now in this sort of middle section here, in this case, we have various Nintendo and Sega games that are a little bit more sought after, both boxed and carts. Got some boxed Super Nintendo games there at the bottom. And then we have our Sega Saturn, Sega CD games, more import Saturn games, and more Genesis games up at the top here. Now the center section begins more of what I like to call sort of a museum section. A lot of this stuff is for sale. But and then we have some Game Gear games here, some various handhelds, Game & Watch, etc., etc. And some other, let's see, looks like we got some GBA stuff down there at the bottom. A Donkey Kong tabletop. Of course, no retro game store would be complete without a Power Glove. And we have Rob the Robot there on the right. And various GameCubes, Xbox. And then up at the top we have the FM Marty, very rare system, the Vectrex. And the Atari Lynx. And we have the NEC PCFX. You see an Odyssey down there, ColecoVision. And we've got an Atari 2600 Junior, Commodore 64, Commodore 128. You got your TurboGrafx shelf here. And then above that we have Neo Geo CD and Neo Geo AES sitting there. And above that you have your Neo Geo MVS and AES carts. And actually their prices on these are quite good, I think. And then just to the right of this, again, I think no store would be complete without a Virtual Boy display, which is kind of interesting. Again, more boxed systems and games and whatnot above. And they do have the Atari adult games, Beat 'em and Eat 'em, and Custer's Revenge, in case you're interested in owning either of those gems. Now, this is the front aisle of the store where we have more of the modern games. And you can see here they have lots of 3DS games and PSP. And then we have some Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance boxed games here. And then just to the left of that, in this case here, we have your various Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced carts. And lots of different peripherals and goodies kind of hanging up everywhere. And we have our Wii case here on the left. And then some original Xbox games here on the right. And on your front counter here, coming up, you'll have a few more PS2 games. And then behind the counter is all of your new Xbox 360 and PS3 games. So that was a very quick tour of a game store here in New York, Video Games New York in the East Village. So here's a look at what I picked up at Video Games New York. First we have Cosmic Carnage, a pretty terrible fighting game for the 32X. Some of you may be familiar with this one. Next we have Corpse Killer. And this is for actually the Sega CD 32X. So you actually have to have both pieces of hardware to get this game to work. And if that weren't enough hardware to own for this one game, this apparently is also compatible with the Menacer. And to balance things out, we've got two good games. We have Sylphid for the Sega CD. And then finally, one that I've been thinking about purchasing for a while, this is Eschatos for the Xbox 360. This is a Japanese game, but this is region-free. And it also includes a copy of Judgment Silversword, which was originally released for the WonderSwan, and apparently was just a really incredible game. Of course, finding a copy of it for any kind of reasonable price is not happening. So this is a good way to play that game as well. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know what you thought about this type of video. If you like this kind of thing, you know, the sort of guided tour video. I have a couple of ideas of some other places in New York, some gaming-related places to shoot some videos. So let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.